Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Wednesday, 25th June 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillian Group. Trinidad and Tobago's main opposition, PNM, held its internal elections on Sunday amidst controversy of alleged division, delays, missteps, and irregularities. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. After the alleged missteps, claims of irregularities and delays, not to mention division since the loss of the recently concluded general elections in Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM's internal elections finally concluded on Sunday last. In fact, the unopposed leader Penelope Beckles-Robinson's slate has been declared winners by a landslide. This CNC3 news item gives details.
The PNM's internal elections kicked off on time at 8 a.m. Initially, all appeared to be well, as Anna King-Edwards was the first to vote in Sawa. She was followed by candidate for Lady Vice Chair of the party, St. Anne's East MP, Dr. Nian Gadsby-Dolly.
Very smoothly, no issues at all. I voted consecutive numbers 2. There are a couple of people behind me in the line at this time, and no issues.
But as the day went on and the lines got longer, some challenges emerged. Head of the People's Champion slate and candidate for the chairman position, Farai Masaisai, arrived at the Belmont Community Centre to vote shortly before 10 a.m, but more than 30 minutes later, he had yet to complete the process. Long lines were also seen in Arima, with the unopposed candidate for political leader Penelope Beckles noting some flaws in the registration process.
So the main concern is the length of time people are taking to vote. That's the main concern, and some of the people not on the list. Those are things that you have from time to time. They had put things in place because the convention really should have been last year.
She says this underlines the need to update the party's approach.
One of the main frustrations as well is the modernization of the party, so that people can stay at home, you can apply your membership, you can pay your dues online, and you can easily, so you don't want to come today to vote and find out you're not a member.
While much of the commentary coming into Sunday's poll had been related to the manner of campaigning in the election, Beckles and other senior party representatives say it is simply part of the process of healing and rebuilding for the 70-year-old party. Peter Christopher, CNT3 News.
With Iran's parliament approving a plan to close the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil shipping routes, Trinidad's Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, Dr. Rudal Moninal, said the move could trigger a sharp rise in oil prices globally. TTT News reports.
Dr. Moninal told the House of Representatives on Monday during debate on the motion to adopt the report of the Standing Finance Committee that while TNT stands to gain more oil revenue, the country's ability to capitalize is limited. He said the decision to shut down the Petrotrin refinery continues to cost the country potential revenue.
Yes, Trinidad and Tobago, like the Russia-Ukraine crisis, we stand to benefit. But we could have benefited more had they not presided over a decline in the oil industry. We would have benefited more had they not shut down the refinery. Point up here. because today we have to import fuel products, the price of which may increase, and then the volume of oil produced is 37% lower than 2015. So if you don't have something to take to the market, if the price increase, it will not affect you. How can it affect you if you have no goods to sell?
Energy Minister also raised questions about past energy investments and losses related to Naikwan Energy. He said the legal matters linked to that deal are now before an international arbitration tribunal.
Naikwan owes the government of Trinidad and Tobago for unpaid invoices 95 million United States dollars. 95 million. How much TT is that now? 800 million dollars, almost $1 billion owed to the people of Trinidad and Tobago by Naikwan.
Still on Trinidad, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Suzette Martin, responsible for the investigation into her former boss, Erla Christopher, is herself under investigation. Shaden Superville of CNC3 News provides some details.
Months after she led the investigation against her former boss, DCP Suzette Martin is herself on the receiving end of an inquiry regarding allegations of criminal conduct. The problems arose in 2022 when Martin, the then head of the Professional Standards Bureau, led an investigation to arrest firearms dealer Brent Thomas in Barbados. And while Thomas was charged with the possession of firearms and explosives, High Court Judge Devendra Rampasad was critical of the police's execution of the arrest, describing it as an abduction. After the judgment was issued, an investigation was ordered by former Police Commissioner Erla Harewood Christopher in 2023. In his first media briefing, top cop Alistair Guevara was careful to avoid revealing the exact accusations, but maintained it was serious enough to warrant an investigation.
The firearm dealer would have indicated that certain acts would have been carried out against him and that he felt that it was bordering on criminal conduct. I would not want to pronounce on what exactly is that criminal conduct.
And while there may be some concerns over the timing of the allegations and investigation, Guevara maintained that the TTPS has nothing to hide.
I would have been appointed on the 18th and I would have received the report on the 18th and I would have immediately taken steps to deal with the report. So we are not hiding behind anything. Our hands are clean and we are open to the public.
But even as the investigation into Martin's conduct begins, Guevara says she will continue to serve as DCP. He stressed that the only body authorized to suspend or remove an officer is the Police Service Commission. When contacted, the Commission's chairman, Dr. Wendell Wallace, said he was unaware of the matter and preferred not to comment until he had further information. CNC3 News also reached out to Martin, who said she was aware of the inquiry and was confident that the TTPS would carry out the investigation with fairness and professionalism in mind. Martin added that while she continues to serve as DCP, she would not obstruct investigators and welcomed the inquiry as she was fully prepared to assist in any lawful investigation. In their response to CNC3's questions, the Police Complaints Authority confirmed that they were conducting their own separate inquiry into Martin for the arrest of Thomas, but declined to comment further. While no one knows for certain what the outcome of the investigation will reveal, the public and the membership of the TTPS continues to look on and hope for the best. Shane Superville, CNC3 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Jamaica's constabulary force promises transparency during transformation process. More in this CVM News item with Damian Phillips.
Not so much of a hard sell anymore for the JCF, displaying to the public they are actually and literally in transformation mode.
This Transformations Expo is our reality on display. None of what you will witness over the next 3 days is aspirational. Everything you will see, touch, and feel is happening now in real time across the ranks and formations of the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
Their Transformation Expo being held in Montego Bay allows citizens to share in a more interactive experience of how they are using technology and where they intend to go in modernizing the force. The dialogue continuously taking place between members of the business community, academia, and the wider public.
In a society where trust must be earned, we believe that this is not optional. It is essential. And so this expo exists to give you access, to make us accountable, and to help you see and feel the depth of change underway in your Jamaica Constabulary Force. From the technologies we use, to the strategies we employ, to the values we now center, this is your opportunity to engage with the modern, cutting-edge JCF.
The JCF boss indicating that the organization is serious in not embarking on this journey to fail, disappoint themselves or those they are designated to serve.
We are investing in our people by recruiting thousands of new members, by providing internationally accredited training and development force-wide, and by nurturing leadership, resilience, and purpose in each member. Ladies and gentlemen, we are raising the bar of the quality of service we deliver to you through our ISO 9001 certified quality management system, our professional training accreditations, and a renewed focus on service excellence. We are embracing the power of technology to build smarter, faster, and more responsive policing across the nation.
The younger generation came out in their numbers and now, through exposure, have a greater understanding of the work the police do behind the scenes. From virtual reality simulations to displays of modern forensic technology, the expo offered a rarely seen glimpse into the tools and tactics shaping the next generation of Jamaican policing. Many were gripped by the mock drills and simulated responses that brought the realities of frontline policing to life.
For me, it has changed my perspective, showing that it really takes a lot more work than I normally thought, and how the whole process of dealing with criminals, crimes, basically everything involving crime, it changes my whole perspective. It shows that there's a lot of work that is put in by the police force.
The force we are building is defined by its intellect, its versatility, and its strategic depth. And so while we are known to be strong, resilient, and brave, we are also sharp, insightful, and forward-looking.
Damon Phillips, CVM News.
Which political leader does Jamaicans like more? Favorability ratings reveal a 7% gap between the two major leaders. More in this TVJ News item with Jamila Maitland.
With months to go until the pending general election, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has a 7.5% favorability rating over opposition leader Mark Golding. That's according to the findings of the latest RGR Gleaner Don Anderson poll. Pollster Don Anderson.
37.6% said we have a favorable or good opinion of Andrew Holness, compared to 30.4% who said they had an unfavorable opinion. The rest were people who didn't have an opinion. We compared now that to the favorability rating of the leader of the opposition, Mark Golding. 30.1% had a favorable opinion of him, 22.7% had an unfavorable opinion, and 47% had no opinion of Mark Golding.
It represents a marginal increase when compared to the findings of a similar poll conducted a year ago. The Prime Minister's favorability rating was 34.6%. On the other hand, Mark Golding's favorability rating dropped by 5.8% when compared to that period. Notably, both leaders recorded their highest ratings in April 2024.
Across the three surveys, Andrew Holness recorded the highest favorability rating of all the periods that we evaluated, 40.1% in April, but that has fallen to 37.6% in the May 2025 poll, whereas Mark Golding's ratings have been kind of up and down, but moved from a favorable of 37% in April of 2024 to 30.1% in May of 2025.
Overall, however, the net favorability rate among both leaders for the periods show Mark Golding edging out the Prime Minister.
The non-favorability rating is much higher for each of these measures than Mark Golding, and this is what depresses that net rating of the respective leaders.
A closer look at the data shows that more women like the Prime Minister, but more men prefer the opposition leader. Among the age demographics, Mr. Holness is liked most by people 65 years and older, as well as those between the ages of 45 and 54. As for Mr. Golding, he's a favorite among Jamaicans between the ages of 55 to 64, as well as those 65 years and older. Interestingly, many Jamaicans have no opinion on the issue whatsoever. Majority of them are youth. A whopping 41% of those aged 18 to 24 and 37% of those aged 25 to 34 could not decide for the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, close to 53% of youth between 18 and 24 and 52% of those aged 25 to 34 had no opinion of Mark Golding.
Right across the three surveys, the no opinion regarding Mark Golding is much higher, which means that people aren't really in a position to give a clear yes, no, favorable, unfavorable perspective of Mark Golding, all right? And that's because, of course, he's not the leader of the government. He's not in the limelight as much, but he hasn't apparently projected himself to the extent that more persons would be able to comment on their favorability view.
The poll was conducted between May 16 and June 7. 1,033 people were interviewed. Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
Still on the...
With Iran's parliament...
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.